All right, trying to bring it all together. We started out this course, this class, by looking at what good leaders do. What are the challenges of leaders at this point in time? We observe a number of trends that investors are saying, yes, organizations and leaders, they need to pay attention to different issues like a higher purpose, a social purpose, and they need to pay attention to the political dimension of their role, understanding the global challenges such as the environmental sustainability challenges or the social sustainability challenges. We then talked about how these challenges cannot really be addressed if stakeholders don't trust the organization, the ones that you need to work with to address these issues. That employees at this point aren't really engaged. So unless something shifts, they will probably not re-engage. And this section was about how this matters and reflects on the individual level. That actually our internal happiness and well-being and the way we feel about ourselves does matter, especially when we're in leadership roles. And there is a way to look at current leaders and assess how happy and excited they are, how alive they feel. And we know that when we look at the current business leaders and leaders in general, they're not all that happy. They're quite stressed. They are living lives that are pretty unhealthy. Many of them admit to using drugs, performance-enhancing drugs. We see that with athletes too. So in many ways, people aren't necessarily currently, successful people aren't necessarily happy and flourish. Pope Francis and other religious leaders have said and pointed out that, you know what, there is the world that we live in is a manifestation of our inner world. However we feel about ourselves is how we treat others, how we work with others, how we impact society and the environment. So if people are unhappy, they're probably unhappy acting out in their private life, in their organizational life, as leaders. What we also know is that those leaders that are quite happy and that are revered, they do have an inner strength of some sort. They do lead from within. They have a strong value system. And value is not shareholder value. It means some kind of moral compass. Something that gives them strength, that allows them to lead themselves, to balance their four drives, and in turn be able to balance the drives of the ones that they are working with and contribute to their bonding, their meaning, physical safety, psychological safety, and their need to acquire things. We know that those leaders that are contributing to the biggest, to the solutions to the biggest problems, they're quite remarkably happy. We're going to discuss this more when we look at social entrepreneurs. But we do find that the sources of happiness don't necessarily lie where we think they are lying at this point in our current business culture, namely in success, wealth, and status and power. Those are not unimportant. They are important, but they're not the ultimate goal. And when we shift the goal towards flourishing, we can also see individually that there are other sources of our sustained happiness and well-being. And one of the main sources is other people, the way we connect with others, the way we work with others. So this is a huge opportunity for anybody that is going to be at work. There are people that you are doing things with. You're not going to be alone. You can work with people. You can be engaged with them. You can connect with them. You can do meaningful problem solving with them. This is a huge opportunity for those that want to see it that way. Unfortunately, most of the workplaces are full of fear. People go into the workplace and become zombies. They say it's professional. They don't reveal anything private. They're not friends with each other. They basically just hide. They may have a nice suit. They may wear the same kind of socks to fit in. Yet they're not feeling alive. They're not fully there. They're not fully human in that organization. This is a tragedy in many ways, because it deprives people that work at least 8 hours a day from authentic human connection. And that's a source of happiness. Another source of happiness is physical and psychological safety. We miss it. We feel threatened. In many workplaces, people do feel that fear that I mentioned before. They don't want to look bad. They don't want to commit a mistake, whatever a mistake is. They're afraid of being judged. They're afraid of being fired. All of these things. There's a climate of fear, and when people are afraid, they don't perform well. They're not creative, and they don't feel alive. Another source of happiness that we so far have not really looked at is meaning, purpose. And there are huge opportunities here with the challenges that abound. Environmental level challenges, social sustainability challenges. They all are relevant and meaningful. And the solution, and engaging in a solution with them, does empower people. I never forget when I had a student come from who was working for Tesla to speak to my students, and he was just 25 years old. But when he came and entered that room, the whole energy shifted. This person was so electrifying and electrified, so alive, so engaging, because they had a meaningful job. They found a balance of their 4 drives at Tesla. They were so excited, and that resonated. And there was not one person untouched in that room when he left. It was really a shift in vibration, in energy. And so organizations can do that. Leaders can do that when they connect with the highest purpose there is, to be part of the solution to these big human problems. There's huge opportunities out there for anybody who wants to see them. And the interesting thing is, dealing with the big, large social and environmental problems that seem so large and so big and oftentimes intractable doesn't necessarily contribute to misery. It does the opposite. Oftentimes people say, oh, this is too big, I'm too scared, I don't want to deal with it because it makes me depressed. Indeed, it does make people depressed if they don't feel empowered to come up with a solution. But once they do feel they are working towards a solution, they feel empowered, they feel alive, they feel engaged, they feel happier. Think about that for yourself. Think about how that can be the source of your leadership. Because once you're in that mindset, once you've shifted the way you think about the world, think about people, think about success, and think about happiness, you probably can shift your actions as well. I'm going to leave you with these thoughts. They're probably somewhat provocative. And we're going to keep having this conversation. It's an important conversation. Yet, the possibility for alignment of of solving the problems at the global level, the environmental problems, the social problems, the problems at the organizational level, stakeholder trust, and employee engagement related, and the personal happiness challenges. It seems so clear that once we do all of this together, we feel happier, we feel fulfilled. Because an organization is more trusted when it does contribute to the solutions to the bigger human problems. People are more engaged when they do so. They're happier when they're engaged, they're happier when they trust the organization that they work for. So it all fits together. I hope you can see that more and more. And it's actually quite easy once you see it. And then the question becomes, when you see it, how will you do it? I'm going to have more of those conversations the coming days. Thank you.